Hey, how's it going? And today we're doing something a little bit different. I'm going to show you how to create a large scale surfaced environment as easily as possible. I'm always trying to figure out the fastest way to do something to save time. And to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to go into games, third person, and we do want starter content and go create. And I know there's a bunch of tutorials floating around about this, and there's different ways to approach this. And so I hope to give you some options, and you just figure out, which option's best for you in terms of time and how much attention to detail do you want to pour into something. So it's always that trade-off between time and effort and what your end result is. So it's just something. So to get started on this, we're actually going to go to straighten up our window here first. So I'm just going to go into load layout, default editor layout right here, and then I can get the content drawer and just dock it. And that's how I usually like it. And we're going to go into a different level right now. So we're going to go into a new level, a basic level, and we'll leave that level behind. And I'm going to try to go as quickly as possible, and we do have quite a bit to cover, but this shouldn't take maybe more than 15 minutes. But I think you'll appreciate where I'm going with all this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this floor. So just right click. And I like doing this level because now this is all set up for us and we don't have any shenanigans going on. And this is also a persistent level, which I think is a plus. So the first thing that we need to actually do is a restart. So this is one of the stars of this show is called Landmass, and it's in beta, but allows you to texture an environment really fast. So it's almost like a height map kind of thing, and it's automatic and it saves you a lot of time, and it's really really great. So we're going to go into edit, plugins, and we're going to search for Landmass, and you'll see it's in beta, and we'll go yes, and then we'll just restart, and we'll save selected. I'll save it untitled and just let it start back up. I don't know if you've seen this blue dot, but it's absolutely incredible. If you haven't seen it, you need to, because it's the pinnacle of what you can do with metahumans. It's absolutely amazing. Okay, so let's minimize this, and I need to get back into my level. So where is it? There it is right there. I should have saved it in the maps folder. That was my mistake. Okay, so we've got that set. We've got our floor deleted. We're going to go into landscape mode now. And there's some different settings here, and it kind of depends on what you want. But we're just going to leave it on the default settings right here. And we're actually going to probably get a couple errors, and I'll hopefully be able to resolve those too. That kind of comes up. So we'll just leave this on the default settings right here, the overall resolution. This can be bumped up if you wanted to 1009. So let's just go ahead and do that, 1009, see if that helps us any. And then we're just going to go ahead and go create. And then we have this new, now we have to be careful because we're in sculpting mode, and we don't necessarily want to sculpt anything. And let's now go out of, we have this edit layer. We'll come back to that in a little bit. And we'll go to selection now. So we've got this massive plane now, much bigger than what we had. So this is a large, what I would consider to be a large scale environment, very large scale. And we're already getting some errors here, and it says if you want to disable these messages. So to do that, you literally just type in here, you come down to the command line, and it says disable all screen messages. So we're going to go disable all screen messages, and it goes away. Now, I also think we're getting another error in here, and I'll have to check the output log. There might be another error in here. Maybe it's right there. Let me just check real fast. I think we got an error in here somewhere. Oh, I don't see it. No, there's usually, sometimes you might get an error about dynamic shadows. So anyway, we'll go ahead and dock that in the layout. I'm just going to close it right now. And I'll look at and see if we see that on here. But I saw that dynamic shadows doesn't really agree with our landscape. So let me look real fast down here and see if we can find it. This is, I'm going off on a little tangent here, but let me search for dynamic shadow here. And let's just go ahead and turn that off. Because when I did this before, I was getting an error message about that. And that's how we would turn dynamic shadows off. So I'm just trying to get ahead of the curve here on that. Okay, so that takes care of all that. I wanted to talk about how we can surface this thing with a material. And there's basically 4 options that we have. And one is what we're going to try to do right now is we're going to use a Megascans materials. So we're going to go into here and go to the Quixel Bridge. And we're going to go to surfaces. And we are going to search, I don't know, let's search for grass. Let's see what kind of, there's just, I mean, this is mind-boggling. I think I've done this wild grass before. Oh, it wants me to sign in. Oh, brother. Okay, let me sign in real fast. Oh my gosh. You have to have your cell phone nowadays, so I should be signed in. All right, great. Okay, so now had to sign in. So I'm just gonna get this wild grass. I thought there's 2 of them here. I'm not gonna do the highest quality. So remember, this is low quality is 1K, 2K, 4K, and 8K. High quality is 4K. That's good enough. And I'll just click download for that. And these are great assets. The problem with these textures is that they come in with a tiled look whenever you apply them to a surface. And I don't want, I want to say that's like the dirty little secret, but that's kind of what it is. So then we're going to go add to project and it's come in. However, the good thing is it comes in with the textures. So with these textures, you could actually build a master material and create variation with enough variation to hide the tiling. The only problem with it is that probably takes about 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes to do, depending on how adept you are with the material editor. And I honestly don't want to have to do that. So I'm being lazy. But we're going to show you what we do now. So with the landscape selected, we're going to come over here and go to, we should see under here, it should say materials. No, that's the material. Oh, landscape material right here. And all we have to do is just drag this over here and put that on. And you'll see if we come, I'm flying pretty fast. I'm going to slow down a little bit. If we come down on the surface, you'll see, we can see it okay, but it's incredibly tiled looking. And you can't really see it that great, so I'm going to hit Control L and just make it a little bit darker. So look, we can see this grass, and if we're right up on it, it's not so bad. It really isn't so bad. The problem is when you pull out, you can really see the tiling. And that's the dirty little secret, that there should be, and I hope there will be in the future, a plugin that will just automatically let us add the noise so that we don't have to mess around with this. But I want to just show you how you can try to minimize this, but there's a trade-off involved with it. So we're not quite to that point yet. So the only thing now that I want to do is just go ahead and add some topography to this flat terrain, because this is pretty boring right now. It looks like I'm in a, I don't know, a field in Iowa or something. Well, let me do this. I'm sorry. I'm going to jump around. So in a material instance, we have these parameters, and we can adjust different. If we put check marks here, we can then have access to make these adjustments. The only one I'm really interested in right now is this one, and it's on the tiling. And so what I can do here is I can go, because I've experimented with this already before, is I can go 0.05 and 0.05. Whoop. And you can see right away what's happened to the material, how distorted it's become. But the advantage of distorting it like that, if I go save and I come back in here, you'll see it looks a lot different. It looks really kind of strange now. it doesn't even look like grass, but there's no tiling anymore. So it's a trade-off between the scaling this up to where it looks like something kind of weird and alien, which actually might be good if your environment is set on an alien planet. This might be perfectly fine. And the farther away you pull from it, the almost the better it kind of looks. And to really get a sense of it, we can hit play. Whoops. I got to get my player start here. Hold on. Where's my player start? Oh, there we go. Okay, so if I hit play, it's not half bad, you know? It's really not. It doesn't look that bad from the angle that I'm looking at. This looks like some weird dirt surface, but there's absolutely no tiling. So what you can do though is we can go back into this material instance, and if you want to experiment, you could try going 0.06 and seeing, you know, just gradually working your way up with different numerical values. I mean, we could even try 0.07 and just keep experimenting to see at what point do you strike a good balance between the scaling of it, and the higher we bring up that tiling, the better that it's going to start looking. So it's subjective on what you want to do. So does it look unnatural? Not really. It just looks like some weird dirt field. It actually doesn't even look like grass. But I think this, depending on what your environment is, that this could work perfectly fine, and you don't even have to add any noise textures to this. But you have to play with the scaling and see if it's acceptable to you. Okay, so anyway, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to really add a blueprint brush and then add some topography to this. So I'm done with that part. I'll hit escape, and we're going to go back into our landscape mode here, and then we're going to come down here. We can just leave this called layer. There's a setting on here. There should have been a setting on here to, oh, I've got to go to blueprint. Sorry about that. And I should be able to get a blueprint brush, and it's this custom brush material only, and double click on that. And now if I click here on the environment, it opens it up here, and now you'll see it over here on the outliner. And if we come over to the outliner, we come over to the brush material, we can search for one. That brings us into this. Look at this incredible. Doesn't this blow your mind? I mean, how much work they've done. You know, this is almost like when you're building the noise texture, it's about this much work. So, I mean, who wants to, I've mentioned this before in other videos, but I mean, I don't have that much of an interest in doing this part of it, you know. It reminds me of those, with those telephone operators, you know. But what we're going to do is, I didn't want to actually click into that. I wanted to get a noise texture here. And you can see, if you actually look up here now, you do need to go to general noise. So we are going to go to noise, general noise, this one here. And now we can put this at like a 10, and the elevation maybe at 2000. And you can play around with all these values. And look what's happened. Look what's happened to our environment. I mean, that looks pretty damn good, I think. I mean, might look like a little bit like an alien surface a little bit, but it doesn't look bad. And if I put my player character in it, oh, because, you know why? Is because the player start, I've got to go out of landscape mode, by the way. So I've got to go back to the player start, hit F, because I raised the elevation, so now the player start is actually off of my thing. So, oh, I'm way up there now. So if I hit play, you can see, look at this. This is fantastic. I mean, this is great. And I actually don't think this looks that bad. And we didn't have to add, well, we added that noise to create this topography. But we didn't have to go through all that blueprint stuff, you know, of making noise textures. So that's one thing that we can do. And honestly, that's pretty much it. And then we can film it and dress it up and do everything else that we would do to an environment. But now I wanted to show you one other thing that you can do if you're wanting like grass. And what we can do is just click up here on the content level and type in grass. And the starter content comes with a master material for grass that's already got noise textures like built into it. So all we have to do, if you don't like the looks of this grass and you don't like the scaling of it, then you can simply drag this in over there. And then you got this grass. And this grass is ready to go. And it looks fine if you're looking for more of a grass look. But you see how Unreal has created this grass material in the starter content? And look, no tiling problems at all. No issues or anything. So that's why I'm thinking in the future, maybe these materials, we won't have to deal with this tiling issue forever. I hope that there's a plugin that takes care of that. And now I just wanted to show you one last thing just for fun and to maybe get your mind outside of the box for a second. So let's go back into Quixel Bridge for a second. And let's go, let me just dock this up here. Let me go to Brick. And I think I've downloaded some of these before. Well, I'll just get this. That's damaged wall. Oh, I've downloaded this one before. So I'll download this. It just takes a second. I don't think I've downloaded the high quality one. And you can see what it's supposed to look like over here. I mean, that's what it's supposed to look like. I believe that's 1K, 2K, 3. Or no, I guess maybe not. Maybe not. Scratch that. But it's just showing you, I guess, different aspects of it. So now I'm just going to add this to my project. And remember, high quality is 4K. So what I'm going to do is over here on the brick wall, and it's a material instance, I'm just going to go ahead and drag this into the scene right here. And now you'll see the issue of the tiling even with here, although maybe here it's not so bad. I don't know, because it's bricks and maybe people are expecting to see a pattern, but you can see the tiled pattern, right? So what we do is we click into here and we're going to enable this, and then we're going to just do the same thing again, 0.05, because that just seems to be a good one, I noticed. But you notice we pay for it in resolution and quality. So we'll go here and size. So now, actually, these bricks don't look bad at all, but look how they're actually really big. So if I hit play, you can tell these are absolutely huge bricks. Now, here's something that I want you to think about. And it has to do with that, what is that, forced perspective almost. But, look, it's all about scale, right? It's all about scale, right? So these bricks are scaled up, and they look a kind of weird, but there's no tiling, right? The bricks look weird. They look weird with this guy. I can come up here to the top of the hill and look out. Come up here and I have a vista, right? So this is a really trippy environment, and but the bricks are obviously like really oversized, right? So what could we do to counter that? And it dawned on me, well, it's all about scale, right? So think about our third person player character. He's the one that's throwing off the scale, actually, right? Because he's just little compared to the bricks, right? But we had to scale the bricks to get rid of the tiling. So why couldn't you, if you were just, let's say, wanting to get a photograph, a still picture, because things get weird when he starts moving too much. But if we come into the third person blueprint here and double click it, let me just dock this and let me just close that. We can come into the viewport, click on the mesh, and we have to do some shenanigans here. But what's cool about these is that these can all be scaled, right? So what happens if we do, I'm just playing around with some values here, but what if we do 7, 7, and 7. And now he's a giant, right? But then look how small our camera is. So I'm going to have to move my camera here to see him, of course. And I don't know how much we would even see of him. But this is one way you could make a story about giants if you wanted to. Just how easy they scale in the world of 3D. So what happens if I hit play? I don't know what. So look, he's massive now. I don't have that good of a shot. But look, the bricks look a lot better because we've scaled him up so much. So they still look big, but if we bumped him up a little bit more, the bricks would be on the same scale. So it's just something to think about, right? Anyway, I hope you found this helpful. Take care. Have a great day. And I'll talk to you next time.